With over 500 tanks in World of Tanks, it is very clear that at least a handful of these tanks are fake. Anyways, today I'm going to try my best to look at the fake tanks in part 1 of World of Tanks fake tanks, and in this video we'll be going over China, Russia, America, Italy and Czechoslovakia. So firstly, China. In regards to the Chinese tanks, firstly I'm going to go over the tank destroyers, and most players can agree that these are fake, considering they all have FT in their name, which literally translates to fake tank. It is no doubt that most of these are fake, but some of them aren't, and I'm going to actually go through this and show you which ones aren't. So the T26 FT is a fake tank. There's no question about it that China, they did have T26 tanks, but there is no evidence of them trying to convert these T26 tanks into casemate tank destroyers. The M3 GFT, which is one of my favourite tier 3 tank destroyers, is actually apparently real. Serb once showed a picture of this tank on the forum that was stated by For the Record. This tank is basically an easy conversion as well. The 60 GFT, also known as the Shoe, is based on the ATT tractor, and there's no evidence that China actually got these tractors, so you know, how do they make the tank with something they never got? And the WZ131 GFT, no evidence either. Now the tier 7, 8, 9 and 10 are all fake tanks. These are all drawings which are on For the Record for you to see, but it seems like these are artistic impressions and mainly Photoshop. Even For the Record say that some pictures are obviously Photoshopped, but that hardly matters as the project can be real. The picture might only be artist's impressions though. The SU-76 GFT is technically a real tank, although its in-game model is kind of messed up. The in-game model is completely different from the only available image of this tank. The one in-game is more boxy, while this one is more curved and has some very odd tracks overall. The tank was locally built and is different from the SU-76, and the gun is the same as the GFTs. Now time to dance away from the tank destroyers. The WZ1321 is an inspired tank from the Chinese Type 62G, a real conversion of the WZ131, which is the Type 62. The Type 62G also had the same 105mm gun that is on the WZ1321. So the WZ1321 is essentially a conversion of the WZ131, not the WZ132. Therefore, it's technically a fake tank. The 59 pattern, there is no evidence regarding this tank ever being conceived. However, it is likely that it was inspired from the Merkava M48, as it looks very similar. T34 1, 2 and 3. Oh boy. The tanks that were claimed to come from Wargaming's Chinese partner is basically nothing more than probably a fabrication. There is no information regarding these tanks whatsoever. And coming in finally is the 110, the Chinese tier 8 heavy tank. That is 100% fake. Firstly, it's a mix of two tanks, the IS-2U, which is a project to give the IS-2 a pike nose, and then it's got the turret of the T10. China never got the T10, so how could they get its turret? The whole story of this tank is suspicious. Take out a 10 to 20 year old blueprint and then whack on the turret of a tank they do not own at all. China, what are you doing? Most importantly, Wargaming. What were you thinking? And now on to Russia, and as World of Tanks has a large Russian community, in fact that was its first community, which is very fond of their tanks, it's very hard for Wargaming to get away with making fake tanks in the Russian tech tree. Most of these are just slight inaccuracies. However, the LTP, well, this was designed, well, by an amateur artist, LT Provoronov. The drawing was rejected and was never designed by the military. The story is that the Soviets rejected it but stored the drawings in its archives. This was discovered by Yuri Pashalov, and it was decided to implement it as its drawings were very well detailed. Now the Soviet tech tree doesn't have any outright fake tanks. It does have inaccuracies that I will mention though. The turret of the LTTB is made up, and the LT432 has inaccuracies in its visual model. Its hull armor is wrong, and the turret is also wrong as it's practically twice as big and it's twice as thick. Have you ever tried to shoot an LT432 in World of Tanks and it bounces? And now on to the Americans. America is one of the biggest tech trees in the game with fake tanks. That with Britain and Germany these are the 3 biggest fake tank tech trees in the game. Firstly, let's go into the tank destroyers. The T25AT tank destroyer should actually be called the T23, as it was based off of the T23 medium tank's hull. In fact, it was inspired by this T23 with a partially moving turret. The tank would have been more accurate if it were to be called the T23AT. While you're at it, you can remove the completely fake T25-2, then just add at T23AT with the movable turret and make it fully traversable, because then it's an actual tank that technically existed. And now obviously, as I just mentioned it, the T25-2 is Frankenstein. This is one of the most known fake tanks in the American tech tree. In addition to this, the T28 Prototype, the tank that I believe is a completely terrible excuse of a tank destroyer, is fictional. The only design for this tank was this, a design for a turreted version of T28. And this looks like the T28 HTC, don't you think? Coming up next is the T110E4. The T110 series of tanks did exist, while only one of them had a traversable turret, and that was the one that is actually in the game, the T110E5. In addition to this, the T110E4 with its 155mm gun was never proposed or considered, and it never had a movable turret. As well as this, the T28, well, the T28 technically is a real tank, but I just want to touch up on the fact that its first model was completely fake and that it had some issues with the model. Now its HD model, its new model, Wargaming designed it from its actual prototypes. Oh Italy, the tech tree that we never thought would come to the game because they couldn't get anything above tier 5. It's not really a surprise that they're here. But the reason is that, you know, that beautiful tier 8 premium tank that is currently having its time of its life, swarming front lines and killing any unsuspected person in a standard tech tree tank, the Spaghetto Progetto, it's fake. It never existed. There is a whole article about this tank on Tanks Encyclopedia, and I'll leave it in the description for you guys to check out and read. The P43 Tur is a paper tank, however its name is incorrect. It should be called the P34 Bis 2. The Progetto 65, as far as I know, is a real tank, but there is no information about it that is accessible to the public, so it might not actually be real. We don't know. And finally is my favourite tech tree in the game, or my favourite one-line tech tree, and that is Czechoslovakia. The Czechs have, well, one fake tank because they've done extremely well with making their tanks real. And the reason why this is a fake tank, well, it's not really a fake tank. It's a mistake in the model, is what I'm trying to say. The Skoda T50, it's a real tank, but its visual model is wrong. The Skoda T50 is meant to look like the TVP VTU in terms of its hull shape. Anyway guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. I really loved the support on the last World of Tanks video. That wasn't one that I expected to do that well. And if you want to see part 2 of this one, let's get this to 25 likes and I'll drop the next part. Next week I'm going to be talking about the final line in the Hungarian tech tree, so stick around for that. If you're new to the channel and you enjoyed this and want to see some new stuff, like and subscribe and maybe share it. I upload videos Monday and Friday. Monday is information videos and Friday is funny moments videos, so there's something for everyone. Anyways guys, I hope you enjoyed. This was Jordan doing the fake tanks of World of Tanks part 1. And I'll see you all in the next one. Have a great day.